questions?
So I just wanted to ask if like am I writing like what's the correct structure of writing for like traffic and sports? Because I was just freestyling. I was just freestyling. I don't know what's like the correct way of like especially traffic. I mean sports you can like somewhere make a plan because it's similar to like your normal news. But the traffic, what's like the
Yeah,
correct
so
structure? What do you follow?
make a comment just quickly on the sports. It is exactly the same as how you write news. It's the way that you present it. You understand? And also remember there are, so this is great. It's great sporting news, but there's also politics that happens within sports as well. Do you understand? Um, so it always depends. Also, so soccer is fine. So this is cool. This is a nice one. The next one would have to be either rugby or cricket if there is. And like I said to you, like following that, we go to actually athletics, and we go to Grand Prix, and we go to tennis, and we go. You understand what I'm saying? To, let's say, local netball. Should there be like provincial games or whatever it is? Do you understand? We look at um, let's say, like, we look at the female leagues. You understand, in other obviously sporting, depending on whether they won like a championship or not. Um, it's like I say, you must choose your stories correctly. I'm saying carefully, should I say? Knowing that, like for example, like this, for me, isn't really a it's not a top story. Does that make sense? In other words, if I had to choose out of the two, I'd rather put this one. You understand what I'm saying to you? First than this one. But again, this is kind of like, I'm just gonna, so yeah, this one's cool for like a beginning. Do you understand? Because it's talking about a bit of an international effect, where she's going to start breaking records, Olympics wise, and representing us and stuff. With the traffic, again, with the traffic in particular, you have to you have to rewrite it in a way that's useful to the like what you have kind of done. You understand, with what you've got, because the thing is that you don't have. So, like for example, at stations, they'll have like they'll subscribe to a TomTom app, for example, like the system or whatever it is, right? And let's say TomTom, for example, will give you like a live look, not like a Google Maps thing where I'm saying to you, can go and also look what's happening. I'm saying it'll show you if you're looking at the Google Earth, should I say that'll give you a realistic view, but it's that type of view when you can actually literally see the cars moving through the TomTom app. But the thing is that it also provides the alternate routes. It also understands gridlock. It understands. You understand. So the thing is, when you look at traffic presenters and listen to them, they'll have a more comprehensive, I'm saying, solution to a commuter's problem, right? So what you're doing here, just just be useful, right? And the thing is, when you are doing the shows, this is the one thing that you have to keep updating, right? So when you do come at the bottom, at the top, the bottom of the hour, again at the top and the bottom of the hour before you end, I'm saying to you, because the next presenter will take the top of the hour at the end of the show. I'm saying that the next newsreader, like, just make sure that this is obviously updated. So if you are still in West, you see, just finish the sentence, because that's it doesn't really help. You understand? Right? Is that in West Road? Um, Give me some indication, like in terms of like kilometers or whatever it is, because I know that traffic does provide you with that at least. Use the R17 as an alternative route to reach whatever destination. Do you understand? Because the R17 moves in many different directions. I'm saying, with a lot of off ramps that are going wherever it may be, right? So going to the Joburg CBD, um, I would, if you want to just add like a little bit of value to it, like, because a lot of the students commute via taxi. say that, you know, if you are, I mean, if you are traveling through public transport, you can expect a delay that's going to set you back about, you know, you can't actually say the time, but just say expect a delay using public transportation. But hopefully your driver can hear me and can hear this and will take an alternative route, which is right. Or you can tell him, like, make it a little bit more personal, but don't overdo it. Do you understand? Like, because it's not your job right now. Your job right now is to actually do the news. Does it make sense, right? So just let this make sense. You understand? Like, let it be helpful, and then it will be valuable. Do you understand? And it'll be correct the way that you're doing it there. Right. Again, please, with the weather, make it better than, because we can always look at the phone. Do you understand? It's not that. So if we're walking out, like in the morning, we're getting ready and we're listening to you on breakfast. The idea is to give us an indication of where, if you are like getting to the listener's brain, if they're commuting from Pretoria to Joburg, expect like a mass degree drop in temperature, because we're seeing that kind of difference much wider in winter than we do in summer. The two normally differ by a degree in summer, but in winter it's about maybe 3-4 degrees, right? Help them out like that. That's what I'm saying to you. Like, make it a little bit more like personal. You understand? Um, but don't make it comical. Do you understand? So don't go too far with it, and just be subtle about the way that you're being relatable. So today is a great day to put on your knee highs and whatever, and your bomber jackets. I'm not too sure. I don't know. Just put like something small like that, but it doesn't have to be constantly, because again, the thing is that if you do that, let's say imagine you're doing now the news and you're constantly adding those little quirks. It's going to be very annoying to a person, because you might get a bit repetitive. You might be trying to overshadow the actual importance of what they actually want to hear. For example, if there is rainfall, if there is going to be like if they can expect like hailstorms, that type of stuff, right? So the weather is really important to everyone. Again, as I keep saying this, because the thing that we speak about most in this country, um, and I'm saying in the world, sorry, we speak about the weather the most. We're hot, cold. It's hot and it's cold. Like, it's frustrating me. Oh, like, I couldn't sleep last night. Blah blah blah. We talk about the weather the most, right? So just make it just a little bit more personal, but just at the end of the day, let it make sense. Okay. Uh, is that fine? It makes sense. Is that good?
Yes, if I have any other questions, I will contact you.
Okay, good. All right. Like I say, we can do just must make a time, right? And then we will make, like, we can do a session. You understand? Okay, let me see. This is what we're doing today. Okay, so managing phone ins, news and phone ins. So it's a short lesson, but I want to have, obviously, I'm gonna check more about it, and I'll ask for input before we say goodbye, right? The entire, I'm saying the main importance of this particular lesson is to understand, especially now more than ever, the way that we present, and the way that I'm saying we present the news. So the way that we construct it, right? What we decide to, because the thing is that we're saying news in terms of the radio show now. We've covered news as the, I'm saying to you, as the mandatory benchmark now, right? So the news aspect. We're talking about you as a presenter that goes and finds news, that goes and uses it to obviously have a conversation or inform your listener. And you have a responsibility that you will be held accountable for, I'm saying to you, because if you again spread, you'll see there's different situations that you need to avoid, right? And break any one of these kind of rules, right? You will hold one, your own credibility, one responsible, but then also immediately the stations. And the thing is, the station is not going to fight for you. They're going to hang you out to dry. Do you understand? Because like you are a professional and you have been hired to do the work properly. So, like I say, it's good that I'm this kind of obviously lesson with its information, whatever it is with the BABJs who understand how to the relevance of obviously verified and justified and correct information, and how to um, obviously source that and turn that into something that is allowed to be public, all right, and provide knowledge. So knowledge is power. If you like empower someone, that's great. But if you remove power from them with, like I say, false information, man, that's like I say, it's an abuse of power. One, okay, but two, irresponsible, and you will again be held accountable. The listener will never trust you again. Once off. I'm just saying if you have to do it once. Okay, so let's talk about the phone ins, right? So the phone ins are the call outs. Do you understand? So people that are going to call in because you asked them to do so, they're going to send you a voice note, they're going to send you messages or whatever it is. Again, we have the three main inputs. Is the obviously the live caller, the voice note, the WhatsApp voice note, and the SMS line that still is active. More for competitions and promos. Um, is more likely space to allow, let's say, like a 329945, SMS line. But we can. I mean, it's still open if people want to SMS, which they will not. I'm saying to you, they're allowed to obviously use the SMS line, right? But the other one is then the social media platforms, right? Which I'm going to say this in like one more time. Do not use the social media platforms to regurgitate, in other words, repeat the exact phoner that you are going to be doing on air. Use it, and you have to like you have to train people, right? It's going to take a while unless you have already built an interactive, I'm saying, culture with, let's say, your followers, right? If you get on air and you're obviously putting content out there, like and people have not got the culture. I've said this to you before. It's going to take a really long time for them to actually just take the bait and start just like typing in responses, either on your tweets or your Instagram posts, more easily probably and more likely on Twitter than on Instagram, where you find like responses actually. Okay. But again, they have to be something that is an added value extension of what it is that your content, your topic content is about. So some of the greatest editorial challenges in radio are met during a nice topical. Wow. Um, just change that. Nice topical phone in where critical editorial decisions must have, often be made within seconds and usually by the presenters themselves. So I'm just going to say this and then I'll explain. So you could possibly pre-record all the calls, but calls are generally taken live. So again, this now refers for us to be taking those voice. The danger with that is obviously not the danger, the weakness in that is that it's one-sided and you cannot have a conversation with a person. You can put them on, and you got to also be choosy about how you want to use, let's say, back to back to back voice notes. Like for example, in a feature where you don't need to respond sometimes, right? It depends on what the feature is about. It depends on what their opinion is in a call out. Like if you want to just maybe take a live caller, then do voice notes and go to jingle music, that's okay. Um, but again, because you are well prepared, you are one present and also ready to make decisions on the spot as to what is the best way of cultivating that communication and interaction between you and that listener. So minute by minute, okay, whether they have the authority and responsibility of the producer or editor of the program. So in other words, it doesn't matter where. You have to ask yourself, whether you're holding the authority and responsibility like within its within its value. In other words, like, are you doing the right thing? While there may be also like the physical aspects of taking the calls and stuff, right? And everyone, so I don't know why students say this the whole time, because I also am surprised at it at a third year level, because your previous lecturers will have said this to you if you had asked them the same question, like, does everyone get a producer, and why not? You know, like, why can I not get a producer? Because it's never worked that way. I'm saying only shows with teams, right? And speciality shows get producers, right? So so when we're saying teams, we're looking at the breakfast, we're looking at the drive. We might add a producer for a heavy content based show. So let's say if they decide that, like I say, a night, like I said, the nighttime breakfast is a good one, only because a lot of talk can happen within the 6 to 9 or the 7 to 10, whatever it may be. It could be, like, say, a specialty show like Marawa's sports show, which needs a producer, do you understand, to work with him, because it is like it's heavily based on specialized content. But also producers were also assigned to the top 40 to find content for it, to find obviously material that is music related, top 40 related, station related, etc., etc., right? So that the presenter can come in and do what is actually a mandate from the station and not from themselves, right? Okay. So just note that, like, you must be able to do both roles, because you're going to, if you want to go further in broadcasting, I'm saying you are going to do both roles, right? So you should be able to do both roles, present and, let me just see someone coming in. uh okay, we have two courses here. All right, so I'm just going to continue. All right, so here we go. So let's look at some aspects of the presentation, right? If you decide that you are going to be a shock jock, it is at your own peril, right? Because the shock jock nature, so the kind of that stimulating, that they push your buttons, that type of stuff has to actually be your personality, like you in real life. But the shock jock is not supposed to be hated, right? So the shock jock is actually supposed to be controversial, sure, and predominantly controversial and very pushy, like I say, very forward, very abrasive, whatever it may be, but they still have to be liked at the end of the day. So the thing is that a lot of people come in with a shock jock nature and say, "Oh, I'm a shock jock," whatever it is, but then they they basically piss people off, right? And then they don't want to listen to you because you're not someone they want to talk to, right? Or have a conversation with, or hear any information coming, as I'm saying to you. So you are choosing to be a leader for them in information. So you are giving them information. They're going to say, no, I'm not going to listen to you because you're, one, very annoying, and two, you're like I say, you're brash, and I don't. People don't like that in normal life. They're not going to like it on radio either, right? So it might be a novelty, like it has been in our country, with jocks, right? That force it. I'm saying that force it. So again, obviously the go-to shock jock has always been Gareth Clough, right? So since he was at Tux, like, and throughout his career, through 702, through 5, or whatever it may be, even now at Cliff Central, he is still a shock jock. But if you look at the OG shock jocks, and again I say the biggest one or most famous one is Howard Stern. You should really go watch the movie. I think it's called Private Parts. Of, he obviously plays himself, right? But he does decide to balance, like, the need for a shock nature, like the call for like controversial topics to be covered, right? And the thing is that people, if you listen to a shock jock that is well balanced and also talented, like, for example, let's just take Gareth Cliff. Like, there was enough of him that covered, like like other aspects, and was didn't have to be shocking just for the sake of being shocking, you understand? So when it's part of your personality, right? And also that doesn't mean that a presenter that isn't a shock jock doesn't have to cover controversial topics. Do you understand? You should be able to address any type of content, right? Okay, as a presenter, and not hide away or shy away from doing them. You'll do it in your own way and for your and in a point of view that your listener at that show, in for that show, that time of day, blah blah blah, is going to respond well at. All right, okay. Remember, you must be liked. Otherwise, like you're not gonna like. There's no point in putting you on radio, right? Okay, or TV even, or whatever it is, right? The presenter helps the caller to put across their point of view, developing their argument with phrases such as, so, are you suggesting? Or when is this happening? So we need to pre-screen those callers. So in a live show, you're going to have, let's say you have a WhatsApp message come in and you want to have a live conversation with this person, right? You're going to phone them off air. The songs are going to be playing, whatever it may be. And then you're going to see what they actually have to say about the subject matter. So you can get the best parts of it when you go on air. So it's not that, hi, how are you? Fine and you, thanks. So just tell me what you think. No, that's not how we deal with callers, right? We have to come in at the climax of what is important, of what they give to us, right? Okay. And then build a conversation, not an interview. Sorry, not a Q&A session, right? A conversation just like you would hold in an interview. So if appropriate, the presenter's challenges will challenge the caller without giving away his or her own personal point of view. Again, Ready Chabu like was one of the best at this, for example. But there are many presenters that are. I mean, this is just to be like actually a common skill of your own, right? So you will definitely always come in with an ulterior motive because you are a human being and you can't be completely objective, right? So you will choose the content in a way that obviously like pushes a certain agenda as much as it can, right? But you don't want to be the one that sits there and makes the statements and then gets crucified for them, right? You want to put on listeners that also help the narrative for what should be said with different points of views. So if you know that this person is going to help you continue your story, but surely many people would argue that you challenge them, right? And that's great because then they're going to have a good, rich reaction too, right? So especially also when you're interviewing, right, and you really need to actually get the full story from this person that you are chatting to. Maybe like I say, it's especially with a politician or some kind of scandal. So you know with that, what is he? Is it Anton or Andre? It doesn't matter. The guy from Telkom. It's Andre van Wyk that must put this book out now. And now all of a sudden he's got a book. He just resigned as the CEO from ESCOM. Anyway, my point is like you want to put him on air. Do you understand? And you want to interrogate this man because you are an investigative journalist at the end of the day as a presenter. The caller has potential to contribute further. You want to use them, right? And don't put on two callers that are going to repeat the same thing. That's why you screen them. That's why you see the messages and listen to the WhatsApp messages and don't put on obviously the same opinions, right? Let's go through more. Taste and decency, right? So the presenter must never lose their cool. That's the big thing, right? So even if this person is rude or they are abrasive or whatever it is, let them dig their own grave. One, okay? If it's a caller or if it's someone that you're interviewing or whatever it may be, let them dig their own grave. Do not, I'm saying to you in terms of do not let your emotions get the better of you. If they do, then control them in such a way that they can be an asset to you at the end of the day, right? Do not go to bad taste. So in other words, go like hit below the belt. Even if you're trying to be like like a little subtle about it, don't. Like there's no reason because then you obviously bring yourself to a lower level, right? You can make the statements and opinions that you need to have without having to go, like I say, to the gutter. Do you understand? So personal bias, like we don't care about your personal opinion. So once again, this, for example, is really well painted for, let's say, like a racist human being, or someone that is a bigot, or someone that is a classist or a sexist or whatever it is, right? All the things that have a very strong kind of like what is it, right wingist, and obviously not correct. I mean, as a human being, who wants to listen to any of that? Because it's all in some or other manner hate speech, right? You understand? So you cannot sit and have a strong opinion about things like that, but you can address each issue and bring up very valid, obviously, like reflections of society and your own experience, if you do it in a smart, calculated, and strategic manner. That is the thing. So we say to you, give us your opinion, but then you say, well, but there's a rule against bias. No, this is when you become intolerant, right? We don't have space for that. Okay, so here it is. Once the listeners know the presenter's real views, their ability to act as devil's advocate is lost. So what is devil's advocate at the end of the day? You want to play both sides, right? Um, so playing both sides means like I can. Oh, sorry, I'm going to the wrong one. Right. So it means that I can bring up obviously the very obvious incorrect. I'm saying, let's say there's something that's an extreme action, or something that's happened in the country, right? But I can work from the other side to get a bigger reaction as well through the conversation, not just to like again kind of push that listener, or whoever I'm speaking to on the phone or whatever it is, right? But I want to be able to also say, to give context to what I am actually talking about, and so gives it validity and credibility. Advice and counseling, you have to be very careful, right? Because of the way that you do not have the professional skill set. So you are not a qualified psychologist, a qualified whatever it is, a therapist, whatever it may be, right? Counselor, motivator, it doesn't matter, right? Whatever it is, like, because so you must not give direct advice to someone's personal problems, right? Because the thing is that people that call in when we do like an advice thing, or and so you obviously thinking about Ask a Man, blah blah blah. There's many different versions of Ask a Man. Please, like it's not an original concept, but I'm saying to you, like the fact that, I mean, we've spoken about also Ask a Man. The point is that it is an advice feature piece, right? And yes, you see, those people are in desperate situations. They're on desperate. You have no idea how far they are away from the brink of disaster. So don't be the one to push them. Rather, let a professional, because a professional will be very kind of neutral in pushing them in the healthier direction, with also finding out more information. You can help them do that as well, because so you're a conduit of information. In other words, you are the, like I say, the fiber optic cable, whatever it is, between transmission of information. So you will link, let's say, the caller to the context of the content, and the context of the content to an expert professional in this case. You should have a list of reputable local help in the case of these situations, so you can ask them rather, and also add and ask questions to this particular expert professional that have to do with the situation. So, for example, there is a woman. Let's just do this something very general, that is being abused by her husband, and she's in a bit of a situation where she can't actually go anywhere. Do you understand? So escape anywhere. Um, it's very hard to actually find, I'm saying, to go, let's say, go to the police and file a case or whatever it is, or report, because you can also self-inflict, and you can you can entrap that man, which obviously the police have noticed many times and has happened before, so they don't do that easily. So you might need some information, some just direct advice on what to do. So you got to get the right, obviously. So you got to get obviously the police on the line, for example, and a social worker on the line, and you would have to get also maybe a lawyer, like someone that does obviously that works for the government. So they do. They're, I'm not too sure as to the two sides of the case. In other words, the one will always no, I have no idea what any law terms, right? But there's a defender, obviously, of let's say the I'm saying the community of the people, and then there'll be, let's say, someone that will represent, let's say, this abusive husband, right? Defendant, that's a defendant. He's a defendant. Okay. I don't know what, let's say, the other person will be called. All right. Anyway, licensed broadcasting channels are required to maintain a balance of, let's say, political matters, right? So, for example, you'll notice this first and foremost in advertising when the elections will come by. You're not allowed advertising I'm saying to one party without having the opposing party advertised as well when they do their PSAs, right? Their public service announcements. But you must also, like, you can't also do a call out without having the political party on the line and say, oh, but we're accusing the ANC about this and this and this, but you and then not put them on the line. That's unfair, and that's misleading and biased information, right? So as you say, there's stringent, as I said, there's stringent rules that do apply before elections happen, so that you as a station and as a medium, I'm saying information medium, you keep you don't try and turn, or even by accident turn the weight or the balance in either or direction, right? Okay, so you can easily, if we want to talk about politics, we do it all the time. You hear it all the time on radio, and we are allowed to speak about, let's say, failings of the ANC, or let's say, or the EFF of the DA, right? Okay, or of the IFP. I think those are the biggest parties. I'm saying to you, of the ruling parties. I'm saying in South Africa. All right, let's look at being liable, right? So any statements which implies a lack of honesty, ability, competence, or skill on the part of any person or body is is considered to be defamatory, right? Um, so you are now belittling their name without any justifiable reason. So, for example, we always say, let's say, product services. So, like a Checkers, or like a shopping center, or a whatever, it doesn't matter, a mechanic, or a product, whatever it is, a product brand, and you are giving only one side of that information, right? Okay, and it could be about, that's normally where people become very, very, I'm saying, reactive. I'm saying presenters, oh, but I went to this restaurant and then I had this terrible waitress, or my food was like cold and raw, whatever it is. Like, why are you bringing it up, like, at all? So, for example, like McDonald's, let's say you want to say something against McDonald's that is factually correct as an experience. You have other people that also vouch for it. You must have McDonald's on the line to defend themselves. Otherwise, you will land up in court, right? And you will lose as well, because the thing is that this is a very basic concept that all presenters, I'm saying all broadcasters, know, right? Court cases also, like, you must know that, for example, when court cases are actually happening, there's that decision that is being made by, I'm saying, the, I don't know, whatever you call them, I'm not going to say the court itself, but obviously the judge, or whatever it is, and that whole institution, they will say whether this can be, I'm saying, reporters or whatever it is can be in the courtroom, or they'll only receive, let's say, what the press releases are allowed to say about a case. Like, for example, again, like, so we've had a couple. I can't remember her name. The one that was hiring, well, gangster killers, whatever it is. to kill, I think it was parts of her family as well, just to claim on their life insurance and such. And other people started going berserkers or whatever it may be. Can't remember her name exactly, but that was like, for example, a case that we wanted to know what was happening, but I don't think we could actually see the actual broadcast. We could see, let's say certain parts or outputs of the trial, because it was again long running. There were definitely coverage. There was different coverage about her sister, and her, obviously, I'm saying her family relations and what they had to say and how they were supporting her, whatever it may have been. Um, but anyway, the point is that it is selected by and then it's given to, of what you're allowed to say. So once again, also Oscar Pistorius for the killing. I mean, that was massive. There were assigned reporters there the whole day for months. I don't know. That thing carried on for about, I think, 3 or 4 months. Was saying the actual trial, before it was actually given a sentence and so on. Okay. So I'm not gonna obviously play the video. You're gonna play that. Okay. Uh, right now, so with me, I'd like you to um, give me, so you can take it home. I'm saying take it home and actually develop the call outs, right? For these, anything that comes off these three topics, right? So abortion, is it right or is it wrong? So this says, once again, it always, always, always constantly comes up, constantly and quite constantly again. Right, there's been also just recently, once again, of the appeal against abortion, and then there's obviously the stock standard sides of, like, you're killing a child, and then there's the religious point of view, and then there's also the other part of the view, which is like, I mean, let's say the child is going to have Down syndrome, or they're going to, like, they'll be paralyzed or whatever it may be. And so the parents do not want to have that child, and the child is going to maybe die early or be, I'm saying, like, they're not going to have a healthy or valued life. Do you understand? It's their decision, right? Or let's say the woman does not want to have the child for her own reasons. Maybe she was raped. Maybe they can't afford it. She doesn't want to give up the child. And maybe the child has, although that is avoidable now, contracted, obviously, HIV, um, and will live only a certain amount of years. No, depending on, let's say, how far along, I'm saying, the infection is. Um, so maybe there's obviously been some cases. I know of one where a friend of my sister's adopted a child now that has obviously contracted HIV from her mother, but she was born with a lot of defects. I'm saying to you, so she had a lot of surgeries and stuff like that. And the child is fine now. She's 3 years old. There's not like a time limit on her. I'm saying to you, there's a lot of things that you can actually chat about abortion. It's always relevant. So is xenophobia. So, should we allow foreigners into the country? Who should buy condoms, guys or girls? So, before I close the lesson itself, I'm saying, um, tell me what, any thought processes, like around what, because remember what I said in this lesson was, we will pinpoint an angle we would like to go. So I'm saying, so, because again, we have an alternative motive, whatever, ulterior motive, right? Um, of what we might want to push as an agenda, which is not, again, propaganda in the biggest respect of that. It's basically what I feel would be correct right now for the listener. So, for example, like the whole thing about abortion, and where you can actually, like, I would go directly to the people that have such a massive problem against it, because they're not the ones that are aborting children. So what's their big problem is my thing. There's a lot of different avenues you can go with people that are for abortion and are having or have had it or whatever it may be, right? And I can do maybe podcasts around that. That'd be cool. But as a call out, like, honestly, I want to hear about the bigotry, And I mean, in terms of like, you haven't been in the situation, like, or like, where is your standing justified, to what point, and why do you believe so? Okay, you tell me. Um, Abortion. What would you say? What would you like to talk about? Of course, you can go. I don't know if you're there. I see you twice in here.
Say I'm twice. What do you mean?
Yeah, I can see you twice in here. It doesn't. It just says your name twice. Yeah, but okay. Yeah, tell me what would. So don't think of the call out. Just think about your opinion and experience before you decide on the call out, so that you can. I'm saying you obviously have the internet at your obviously disposal. So you can go and look at different things and trends and whatever it is, and that's how you will get your brain started. But just having from let's say where you stand right now, some thoughts about abortion.
Um, I don't really have much to say about abortion, but I feel like um it's a right system to have, especially um considering and looking at our society as a whole. I mean, a lot of like women do not just decide, okay, I'm gonna have abortion. It's because of like whatever situation that they are currently in. And
Mm,
as a person, you shouldn't have a say, because at the end of the day, women have a right to like decide what is it that they want to do with
exactly.
their bodies.
Their bodies, yeah. Yeah. And that's actually a better thing to actually go about, is springboard off the abortion, but then talk about the extent to, like I was saying, lawfully and legally, how far does a woman have control of her own body? Do you understand? And there's different aspects that can be again taken into consideration. Do you understand? And health aspects, traditional aspects, um, whatever, even in terms of self-identity, that type of stuff. Do you understand? So you can go that route. Obviously, I'm not pushing for that. I'm just springboarding off you. Um, uh, okay, go with like xenophobia. Give me like
With
three different ideas. Three different ideas.
with xenophobia, I would say, is it right or wrong? Um,
It's a bit too basic because you will get the two extremes, and you also know if you can predict what they're going to say. I'm saying to quite easily. So let's say your listener, I want you to think about why would you get a listener to say it's right? Why would they say that?
they would say that because maybe they have this idea of um other nationals are not allowed in their country, in that certain country, especially when they are here illegally and they are not um
Yes.
um benefiting the country in any way. They're not paying tax, they are doing illegal things like drugs and all of that. So they would say that it's right to be xenophobic because they're doing that in our country.
But also the thing is again, and also additionally, just to what you're saying, the biggest thing is that every other country and all the first world countries, especially, I'm just saying to you, who will sit and first attack South Africa, for example, like they have, when it is, they don't allow anyone in. I'm just saying to you, they were so strict about like you coming over just to visit. I'm just saying to you, and you getting out. I'm saying to you, like to live in another country is a massive effort. I know that many people seem to do it, but it is through a lot of effort. I'm saying to you, and a lot of, like I say, like I'm saying dead ends. You understand that they have to go around. Continue. Tell me more about the others. So the other side, obviously South Africa. So we need to be South Africa for South Africans. That's fair to say. It's not. It's not. It's not even. I'm saying selfish. We have to look after our own. country first. You understand? And if there is a need for other people, I'm saying to you, that's why normally people are allowed into the country is one, their skill set, like is needed. Two, they've got family there, which is allowing them there over. Tell me about the other side. So, in other words, uh, no, like, no, you shouldn't be against it.
Uh, I I think I don't know what to say. I don't know how to put this, but
Just say what's in your mind. It's fine. Like I say, because you're spitballing, so it's fine.
I would say that xenophobia, especially in South Africa, it is a thing because we have operations like Operation Dudula, whereby they are actually like I feel like they are not xenophobic. I don't know if you understand. They are not being xenophobic
Are
because
you sure?
the moment they
Are you sure they're going in and they're smashing and breaking places down before they actually tell them? I don't know. I mean, that's why they've been in jail. I'm saying for certain minutes. I'm saying they've been put and arrested because of the aggressive. I'm saying they don't go in and say you need to just get out, otherwise action will be taken. So that's it's what the world calls jungle justice. You understand? So the jungle decides. The people, the jungle. I'm saying citizens decide, not the government. You understand? Not the hierarchy. So we call it jungle justice. We decide on what we want. You understand? Which can get obviously then violent. So Dudula has good intentions. I mean,
yeah,
that's why
that's what I was
it's
trying to say. They
yes,
have good intentions.
yeah, they do. And the thing is that's why. And why are they being? Why did they get an immediate massive support? Because one, South Africans are hungry, man. Like we're hungry. Like I'm just saying to you, we're starving. People don't have homes, don't have jobs, don't have money. You understand? And so the thing is that, like, because the government isn't doing anything about it, but they gave them a year. I know they gave foreigners a year to get their things in order. Do you think that they'll follow it up? I'm not trying to villainize it. I'm playing devil's advocate. Do you think that they'll follow? The government will follow up on
Ob-
foreign nationals?
obviously they will not. They will not follow up that. From the way I see it, the government is doesn't follow up and on a lot of things. So what's gonna happen is that it's gonna be a repetition of like, okay, we asked you guys, what did you guys? I feel like we need to be selfish and harsh sometimes, because they know that they're still here and they're not even taking us serious or taking the government serious because they know that they're not gonna do anything about it at the end of the day.
Sure. I mean, it would be good to, I'm saying, if you could, let's say, take this to air, take someone that has been chucked out and I'm saying, quote unquote, attacked or whatever it is by anyone from the Dudula, I'm saying, movement, right? Um, and get the one-sided story, right? But then also find people. I'm saying to get, like, let's say you would go and do street vox with people in that community or communities around, like I say, the both sides of, right? To get, because then people will start calling in. You always have a magnet, a trigger, right? So if you play, you're gonna first play not the angel. That sounds terrible. I'm saying to as opposed to the devil. Like you're gonna give, let's say, this person's experience, right? Okay. If you can get a representative of Judula, you know that they are going to obviously propagate. You understand a different story, right? Um, Perhaps also you can get the person that actually, I'm saying, the police that arrested them. I don't think you'll get much out of them as well. There you have to have different options as well for maybe interviews that you could do. Um, that's cool. Give me a different one, another angle to xenophobia. So besides, let's say, obviously, I mean, like like the go or don't go, the like I say, the jungle justice versus the government justice You know, give me any other anything else that you can spin off. Anything else before we go to the last one?
Maybe look at the reason why other um people move to another country. Why would like
Mm, true.
a Zimbabwean migrate to South Africa? Maybe
Mm,
look at that social issue as looking at like for example, Zimbabwe as a country. What is it that is lacking there? That
mm,
making them moving to other countries because we are so packed here. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
it's true.
what
Yeah,
is it that what is that social maybe have like a discussion around that social issue.
yeah. In other words, like what is South Africa? I mean, versus other countries. I'm saying to you that we are getting illegal immigrants here. Uh,
Yes.
genuinely do not have that because we don't have much. I'm saying anymore. We really don't have much. I'm saying to you like again. Otherwise, we'd have enough for our people first and foremost, and we'd be thriving. But we're not really. We're not really. You understand? So why why would you choose here? Why not go to another country that is doing better than us? That's a good one. Let's go to the last one. So about the responsibility of buying condoms, men or women, like I'm saying to you, so there's obviously the female condom, which is as far as I've been told and I've read a little bit on, quite uncomfortable. I know they've made a different, obviously, updates to it or whatever it is, and it's become a little bit more, I say, technologically comfortable. But you know, again, we've got to talk about like that kind of that not that impulse because I think it's more of a mindset. No, I think I know. It's a more of a mindset thing. If someone doesn't want to use a condom, they're not going to go buy one. They'll buy one just for show. Does that make sense? Like, you know what I'm saying to you? So that you're in the situation, and then we'll push for a kind of that preference of not using it at all. Um, uh, I would personally, just because of that introduction of prep, as completely, I mean, it's completely, for me, I'm saying to you, it's completely, we've lost complete control. I'm saying in focus and responsibility. So everyone just goes to a public hospital, gets prepped for free, right? And then they have obviously unprotected sex as much as they want, irregardless of their status, because of the very, very, very umbrella campaign that prep, whether you got AIDS or HIV or not, you will not contract it or spread it. Do you understand? Um, so that is I would want to talk about why on earth people will still are in that kind of mindset. What is so much better in that supposed moment that many men always say, just in general, like it kills the moment. What would you say about protective sex?
Like in terms of like who should buy the condoms
Yeah,
between guys or girls.
yeah,
I'll talk about um the the pressure um that women always carry when it comes to that. I mean, when it comes to men, they always
yeah,
they are nonchalant about it. They don't care. You
yeah,
as a woman, you have to be the one that always say, "Oh, let's go check our status.
yes, yeah,
Oh, let me go get contraceptives. Oh, I shouldn't have done. I should have done this because we also have to like look at like the society and how much because for example when a woman is pregnant they are not gonna blame the guy. They're not. They're gonna say,
Yeah,
why didn't you go to the hospital or clinic and get contraceptives? It's always your fault as a woman in terms of like, why didn't you
that's
do
very
that?
good. Yeah, that's very good. Good. Yeah, sorry not to cut you off. I'm just saying that's a really good. Yeah, that's really good, especially that whole thing of that complete. Um, they like men absolve themselves. They do without even trying. You know. Uh,
Yes.
and that's a really cool. Yeah, that's a really great. That's a really great call out conversation. I'm gonna stop the recording there, and I want to then cover any more questions you have about your submission. Okay, let me just stop this recording. Okay.